We are slightly behind schedule. Sorry, Sagi. You have to. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Hi.
sounds good. So, can you tell us a little bit about the app included running in this or working on in this project? Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you very much, Anders. So you see this the presentation? Okay, I hope so. So thank you for the introduction, Anders, and thank you for having me and presenting this. Unfortunately, I would like to be in Copenhagen, but yeah, situation. Just a short introduction. So my name is Sagi. I'm from the Technion.
Sagi, sorry, your sound is a little bit noisy. Is there something you can just turn down your volume or something?
No.
Oh, just try again. Okay, thanks.
Now, you hear me okay now, more or less?
No, but we can hear you. It's okay. Okay,
so I'll try to talk slowly. So I was involved in the Bike Longer project on work packages 5. I will present mostly the work that we are now conducting on work package 5 in concern with the app development. And then I also will go to some detail of work package 3 because it's really relevant to what we try to have here. And this presentation was prepared together with Valentino Servizi from the DTU. This is a short outline. I will just will not go into detail. I think Anders, you did a great presentation of the project, so I don't want to spend too much time here, but just as a focus, so the idea was to see if, to work with data that is user generated. So to collect data from the users themselves and to analyze it, and then to mine it and retrieve the missing knowledge that is required for this project. And this goes quite nicely with the presentation of Anna on the super cycle highways, where she finished with the missing data and missing knowledge. And this is basically what we try to do here, is to build infrastructure that will allow us to retrieve, to get the data and to retrieve the missing knowledge. So one of the motivations that was done here is to see how we can do that with data that comes from the users, actively and passively. Try not to use any surveys, but really collect the data that is generated from the users themselves, and then see what we can get from there. And for that, we had to build some customized and tailored processes, including the app development, that will allow this retrieval of knowledge. So here you can see this triangle between the users, the cyclists, who will use the app, then the scientists or data scientists and transportation scientists that will need to work on that data, to mine it, to really identify what is needed and required, and with this knowledge come to the authorities, which can be the decision makers, the municipalities, with this missing knowledge in order to have a better understanding of what is required to be done. So this is some kind of a multi-sided platform that benefits the public. There is a problem when we basically rely on data that is generated by the crowd. So with most either citizen science or crowdsourced project that you rely on the users, there is some kind of a retention funnel where you basically lose a lot of data during the course. And the idea with this app was to see how we can maintain the involvement of the users in collecting data. So they will really understand that it's important that they will participate and encourage them to collect data continuously. And this is always some kind of a problem when you do this type of research. You have to to make your crowd interested in what you're trying to do. And I will go into detail in just a minute. And when you allow this, you can really generate much more information and then knowledge that is required. Just recently, for instance, Strava, I read in the newspaper, basically encouraged municipalities to work with the data. So they opened all their data for the municipalities, and this is very good actually. One of the problems is that this is an accumulated data. So you don't really know what was done in order to, what processing was done on that data. And there is a lot of missing information on that data. For instance, which type of vehicle was the data collected from, whether it was a regular bicycle or e-bike or maybe e-scooter. Okay, and also the users themselves. Strava users are more or less basically a specific type of users, and you really need to know what type of user collected the data in order to get a better user preferences and user information. So based on specific guidelines, and I will go into that in a minute. So we are currently developing. We're now in the process of kind of wrapping it up with all the screens and the interface and the experience we try to make to allow the users to do. But you can see the different levels here within the app. So you have a data layer, a machine learning layer, and the app layer. And each one requires specific attention in order to allow it within a very comprehensive app development. And during this the course of deciding what to do and where, we did a very thorough survey of existing apps, and I will not go into detail. You can access the presentation later on. You have the links here. So there are numerous apps that give some kind of a service to the users, to the cyclists. Each has a different kind of focus. So there is the Strava, which I mentioned, but you can see there are a lot of different apps for different types of users, and so it can be fitness, it can be related to navigation. Okay, this is a very important service you can give to your users if you allow them navigation within the app, and I will talk about it later on. And you have something that you can maintain some kind of community, so the users want to use the app because they feel a sense of community related, and they know that it contributes to their community and such. So again, you have some apps on that, and there are some also how-to apps, or how to fix the app, or related to accidents and such. And you try to identify the important stuff that we can adapt in the app in order to have this user integrated within the process. And now I will discuss what we have decided to implement. So first of all is as I said, is to encourage users to participate. So how I engage my users to collect to collect data, because again, I need a lot of data in order to analyze it, and in order to do all the analysis such as route choice later on. So for that, I need a lot of data. So we try to see how we can encourage users to use the app and to collect data. And one of these things is an active process where we allow the users to do some kind of field reports. Okay, so for instance, in Tel Aviv, there is a system that the citizens can basically do some kind of reports related to the infrastructure that the municipality needs to address. So we are now in the process of doing this within the app, and all these reports will be sent directly to the municipality for handling, for instance, some lane blockage, okay, from either infrastructure, from a bicycle or car or something, dangerous intersections, or some maintenance issues as holes in the infrastructure that the city needs to give attention to. Okay, so the rationale here is to strengthen the bicycle community. So they know they have an influence, so they know someone will have to handle this, and they have some kind of a feedback. okay, from a municipality. So they know that the municipality has to take care of these issues. Another idea that we are now implementing is to do some kind of, I would say, a small-scale life cycle assessment. So we give the users some kind of an incentive in terms of they know that while driving using bicycle or e-bike, they will know their footprint or their effect on the environment. So we can compare how much CO2 or other matrices they saved or in relation to other means such as cars or public transportation. So then again, we encourage them and give them some kind of an incentive or information that otherwise they will not know of, in order to encourage them to collect more data and make them aware of their travel choices. So this is the second thing. Another thing that we are now implementing is so this is, at this point, this is some kind of an app that is designed to collect data. We don't have a navigation within the app, and this is something we want to implement probably next year after this ends. So doing a navigation within an app, it's very complex, and you have to address a lot of factors. So for now, what we do is there will be some kind of a map on the interface, and the users will see a map that is generated and maintained by the community. For here you can see an example of a map from Tel Aviv that basically gives the users some information on cycle-friendly routes or areas that are dangerous or areas that are more friendly to cycle, in order to help them and to decide wherever they want to travel or choose a specific route other than the other. So this is an information, it's community-based. And again, we try to give them some service or some incentive in order to continue and use the app. So this is another thing that we implement in this. So these are basically the main three, I would say, additional implementation or services that we give to the users when they collect the data. And I would like to go on not specific detail, but on the post-processing. So data is collected actively and passively by the users, and then we have to use this to use and analyze, basically process this data. And we basically already finished implementing and developing these stages. There are basically two main stages. One is the travel mode detection. So we are discussing here basically two travel modes, where you have the regular bicycle and the e-bike, and you have to differ between one another in order to have a higher level of analysis, which is needed for the later stages. And so we basically adopted some existing travel mode detection, but we further developed that it is now capable to identify between e-bike and regular bike. So there are different travel characteristics that we implemented in order to have this categorization or classification within the data. So we now can know automatically whether the user used a regular bicycle or e-bike, but it's also used to filter trajectories which were not collected by bicycle. For instance, walking or driving, in case the users forgot to stop collecting the data. This is one post-processing, and the other one, as Andres mentioned before, is the map matching. So because we rely on smartphones, the GPS accuracy is not that good. We need to identify precisely the roads and the road segments the users traveled on, and for that we use a map matching in order to identify very reliably on what roads the users traveled, and this is very critical for later stages of the analysis that will be carried on. So these are basically the two post-processing, and here you can see an example on the top right-hand side. You see, you don't see all the dots, but as you see a trajectory, it's quite not continuous, and the points are not falling on the road segments themselves, and this is after the processing on the left-hand side lower. So you see we kind of reconstruct the actual trajectory, and we can identify all the other attributes that we need. This is another analysis we already did. This is done on the survey that we had in Tel Aviv. So the survey was a household survey, so we had all the travel modes within the survey, but we identified precisely the trajectories made by bicycles on the right in orange, on e-bike on the red on the left, and you can really do another subsequent processing and data analysis to identify and to understand what are the behavior, the traffic, and the patterns of this user. Yes, I'm
2 minutes.
So this is just to give you a bigger picture of what we try to see here. This is from another research I was involved in. So you see a picture of Amsterdam. You can really identify the blue color is where bicycles are traveling. So you can really identify the traffic. You can really identify where users are preferring to go and to drive. And this is what we try to have here with all the data that we will collect. Some future directions. So we believe that this processing and the app itself can also be used by e-scooters. So you can really extend this research into more micro mobility travel modes. We also aim to give a service of navigation, specifically customized to the bicycle community, and also to support some dynamic environmental information within the app that will give the users more incentive to use this data collection. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Sagi, for a very nice presentation. So we are a little bit over time, but I think we have time just for this one question, which is, how is the platform going to generate revenue? So this is EIT, of course, and the project is supposed to generate revenue. I don't know, do you want to answer, or?
I can answer, maybe you can. I'll try to put my half cent. So I think this. So the users. So as I see it, users will generate data, and this data is very crucial for the stakeholders. So as I said, you can use this data to retrieve as mentioned, the information and knowledge that is missing, and give this as a service to various stakeholders. This can be municipalities, or this can be the industry. So, for instance, some industries give service, and they can use this information. So this, as I said, you can build some kind of a software from this, and this information or data can be commercialized.
Yeah, and as well, if I can just add, is that so the idea is that it's free for the users to use it, but they will generate the data. But then we actually, if this project was going to be continued for the next year, we would actually generate a package to sell to the cities and generate revenue in that way. So because they would be interested in the city, but yeah, we also actually for the application of 2021, we included a whole work package on discussing these different types of revenue, because there are many apps out there, but many of them, for example, navigation for cycling is based on very simplistic methodology. So we can improve that, and we already talked with several companies about collaborating on improving this service to their users. Companies who have apps. But I think that was it for today. We did very well, not too much delay with so many presentations. I hope that you enjoyed, and can we make basis for further discussions and collaborations. I know that even though it has been partly online, the three online speakers, they had a long discussion before we started in here, so they had some benefits, and also during the presentation, I know they had using the chat. So I hope that was beneficial. Thanks a lot for participating.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Sagi.
Thank you very much. Thank you too.
Bye-bye.